He's around somewhere.
Yeah.
I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Bayfield Town Board for Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg, Trustee Cesaro, Trustee Hartz,
Here.
Trustee Katsos,
Here.
Trustee Moreland,
Here.
Trustee McLaurin,
Here.
and Mayor Ah.
Here. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does the board have any conflicts of interest?
No.
Yeah.
Moving on to general public input of those items not on the agenda.
Good evening. As you all know, my name is Paige Ludwig. I live at 9002 County Road 521. I am here again about the Mustang Crossing subdivision. I think you probably are all aware now that there is a cease and desist that has been issued by the CDPHE. This is for violations from the inspection in August. It doesn't even address the current problems that are happening, and action for those will be coming. Unfortunately, small department, grossly overworked. It's going to take some time. In reviewing the cease and desist, my attorney wanted us to make sure that you were aware that on page 40 of that, it does address the issue that because the pond has changed from what the original permit was, they are required to submit the current plans for review, and there will be an inspection. So this is going to be a time-consuming and lengthy process. We're also getting a lot of pushback from the contractors and people that have purchased lots in there, which I know that the town has been as well. And we just wanted to make sure, again, that even though they've dug and they've put forms in and they've put rebar in, that no foundations can be poured without the building permit. We got calls from a bunch of local engineers saying they had been contacted by the builder asking for a rebar inspection because he was trying to pour before the ground froze. And he has indicated that Jeff Jorgensen, who is the owner of Mustang Crossing, was now agreeable to piping the water across our field, which he's the one who canceled that plan. But we have not heard from Jeff Jorgensen himself. It's all just hearsay. The contractor was under the impression that if we had agreement with Jeff to do that, then we would stop pushing to have this stopped. And we've tried to express to him, this isn't because of us. This is because the developer and the developer contractor violated their permit with the state, and the state is who has issued this cease and desist. We brought it to their attention, but it's because of deficiencies on their part that this cease and desist has been issued. But again, our attorney just wanted us to make sure that everybody was aware of the fact that this is not going to be resolved quickly. And that's unfortunate for the people that bought lots, and I feel bad for them, but I also don't want this to slip through the cracks and they get final approval and then nothing's ever done, and we're in the exact same boat that Dove Ranch is now. We have the opportunity to force the developer and the contractor to correct the deficiencies before they can go any farther. And I'm asking again, for you guys to please continue to do that, and we do appreciate the help that you've been given. Did you get a copy of the engineering report from Mountain Civil? Okay. So there's some issues, as you see reading through there. He also has gone through the plan that came from SEH, and he has redlined pretty much everything in the pond with suggestions of how to actually improve it to make it functional and to meet the size requirements. We have given that information back to them, but haven't heard anything from them. So it's, again, engineer versus engineer. They're saying it's correct, and our engineer is saying it's not. Obviously, from the way that the pond has not functioned from day one, it is not constructed in a manner that's going to work. And the way that the pond currently is a worse design than it was previously. And if it stays in the state that it is in, it is going to cause more damage in a shorter period of time than the previous 2 years. With just the small little rains that we've gotten, the water has just gone directly through the pond, straight into our field. We have so much silt and we have so much water damage just from these last couple of little rainstorms. It's very disheartening. And it's really hard to see our property being destroyed. They did come in and they did form and they did pour the so-called spreader pan, which is absolutely ridiculous. It will not do anything at all to alleviate the problem. It was a complete waste of time and money for them to do it. So I'm not sure how SGM, who is the town's engineering firm, said that that was going to be a sufficient structure. It's basically a flat rectangle of concrete with a teeny tiny lip that's supposed to slow down the flow of water out of a 30-inch pipe. It won't do anything. So we have some real concerns with the two engineering firms that are kind of running the show here. And that's one of the reasons that we wanted to kind of talk to people in a more private setting, because we do have some other questions that we would like to have answered. So we're still hoping to hear back from some kind of a get-together, be it via Zoom or in person or however we can make that happen so that we can address those on a more private basis. So anyway, thank you again for your time, for listening to us again, and we appreciate everything that you guys are doing to try to help get this situation resolved. Have a good night.
Thank you.
You're fine, come on up.
I haven't done this before, so I apologize if I break rules. My name is Margaret Harris, and I live at 72 Appaloosa Lane. And when we had the big rain event, a lot of water came very quickly into the neighborhood that I'm in, and it pooled everywhere and eventually made its way into my basement, caused a lot of damage. When the Public Works gentleman came out to try to divert the water, they said that it came from the pond that overflowed by the Pine River Commons. And I guess my reason for being up here is I'm trying to get more information as to why, if that happened, and I know I've contacted you. But also, it's a concern for me because I live right in that zone and that water is coming straight through the field right there. That's where it's draining. So I'm wondering if there's any plans of what's going to be done to divert that water around so it's not continuing to affect that neighborhood there. It's a lot of water.
So often we don't respond, just FYI.
Okay, thank you.
So don't feel weird about it. We heard what you've said, and I know it's an ongoing issue that we've spoken with both the town manager as well as Jeremy regarding the flood issues. We're all aware of stormwater issues as well, but we don't typically address it during a meeting. So
I don't ask questions and then you respond. Okay. Anyway, that's my biggest reason for being here. I'm concerned that it's going to continue, and any work that I do now to restore that basement is potentially going to be damaged if there's another failing of the pond at the new subdivision. So that's all.
So our town manager is your contact for that?
Yep, I've contacted him.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Sorry. All right, I'll pass one down.
Thank you. Lucy Stewart, Appaloosa. I live in Bayfield. And I tried to figure out many ways to address what happened to me after the board meeting last on the 18th of November. So I'm going to read this letter that I finally came up with. It's Dear Board of Trustees, dated today's date, December 2nd, 2025. I had an encounter with the town manager, John Waters. On 11/18/2025, after board meeting, I was outside the meeting room. Mr. Waters approached me, did not greet me. He said, "Can you meet tomorrow?" I said, "No." He said, "Not even for 1 minute?" I said, "No." He said, "You will need to meet with me. You need to call the town and set up a time, either Monday or Tuesday. You can leave a message." I said, "Okay." He turned and said, "You and your backwards thinking and your misconstrued, confused, misinformed mind, you need to meet with me, call the town." And I believe this all stems from the flooding that we had on 10/13/2025, which he seems to not think. He wants us to believe that this didn't happen. So on 10/13, I personally called Mr. Waters twice. The first time, I was told that he was out in the field. And then I called back again because the flooding was getting worse. And I was told that he was out of town. And what I am trying to do is, I saw in the Herald and in talking to Polis's office and to the state, they're trying to get us money to fix this stormwater. The town has, I believe, $20,000 gathered at this point. If we can get the town to admit that we were flooded out by Pine River Commons, we can then apply for some of these grants and help fix the stormwater problem that we all have in Bayfield. This isn't for one subdivision, the whole town of Bayfield. They need to really address the stormwater and stop the building until this gets satisfied and fixed. And I feel that as a taxpayer and a resident of Bayfield, the respect is lacking, not only amongst people in the board, but also from this town manager. I will not meet with the town manager for the simple reason of this. If I'm going to be called this to my face, I have no respect for this man and the money that he's making, and have somebody else take his phone calls and he never calls you back. That is not what I thought you all hired him for. Thank you.
Y'all are embarrassing. You obfuscate.
What?
Obfuscate.
Obfuscate.
You know what the word is.
I do.
So do you. So do you. And you don't belong here, Alexis. It's been a year since we had a citizen basically assaulted by you, and you've done nothing but pushed it back each meeting. It's embarrassing to the community that we have a board that will not deal with this issue in a timely fashion. And that's you, Mr. Mayor. I see you vote no. I see you too. Y'all need to own up to your responsibilities as town trustees. All of you. Because you're not doing it. I mean, you breached your fiduciary responsibilities, clearly. And then to have the Ledwigs here coming or basically every other meeting and telling you that there's an issue with this subdivision, you guys need to get it together. Get it together. You have a manager. Make him get it together. Don't you sit there and grin about that, sir. That's not funny.
Paul Black, 311 County Road 501. We talk about stormwater a lot. And I heard the term a lot tonight about failed ponds. I've had to almost be in every single meeting because of our irrigation ditches with these stormwater retention ponds that we're building. The unfortunate thing is a lot of them meet the requirements of the state. They meet the requirements of all of the engineering, which it's just bad statutes that we're having to go with. So I do think our piece here as a town and ditches and landowners that are getting this dumped on them is it's really not these structures, it's the flow of water. I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do. It rains, it lets the water out. The water has nowhere to go. That's what we're dealing with. It changed from going to our ditches to now just running through people's fields right into their houses. That's a terrible scenario. So I think that's the thing we need to look at. I mean, we can't, the engineers did what they had to engineer in statutes. The state has these statutes. Hopefully someday they'll get those a little bit clearer and a little bit better. But I think as a town and us citizens and the ditch companies, I think we're on the right track. It is taking some time, but I do hopefully we can get there, because I know what you guys are going through with this dumping through on your guys' place. Every time it rains, I'm sitting here going, man, it's another headache that they're having to get to. So hopefully, fortunately, we'll start getting something figured out. And I think if the ditch companies work together with the town, there is funding through NRCS. They're looking for bigger projects. A lot of that stuff. It's just, hopefully we can get there. So I know it's a struggle, and I'm sorry for what you guys are going through. So hopefully we can get this and start moving forward, because it seems like this is just an ongoing situation. But, like I said, it's kind of dealing with some tough statutes and people that are doing their jobs. It's just not working. So hopefully we'll get there. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Any other public input? Okay, I'll close out that. Has the board had a chance to look over the agenda?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to motion that we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yes. 2026 budget public hearing. John?
Mr. Mayor, members of the Board of Trustees, what you got before you is the budget that was posted. It has, you've seen the majority of all of this. We have had a chance to go over it at the last workshop. We talked about the NGOs. That has been changed according to what I believe was the general consensus of the folks that are there. I've also added on, because we have a new fund, which is our community fund, our community grant fund. It is not commingled with our general fund monies like it has been in the past, and it also will be legal for us to provide those funds to these folks. Primarily, one of the items that's listed on there that I've learned and we've talked with Attorney Goldman about was the licensed utility relief funds that we have in the past given out. The state law does require that to be provided as a voluntary donation. So that was one of the items in that's put in there for your approval, is to actually fund that in a legal way, that we could then provide that assistance to folks that have a problem in paying for their utility bills. And we can do it legally. And they would still have to produce the LEAP fund from the state, according to state statute that says that they meet the requirements for this relief. So that's still going to be part of the process that we've done in the past. The only thing that we didn't do in the past that wasn't quite kosher was we didn't get voluntary donation money to cover that. We covered that with general funds. So this would actually be funded properly, and we can do that. We've got the amount of money in there that would cover what we received this year. With maybe a little bit above that. I think we had 2,200 and some odd dollars in requests this year that we funded. I think you only approved last year 1,500 of it, so that was bumped up to 2,300 to cover the costs, and hopefully that'll be enough to cover the costs of folks that need assistance with water and sewer, and I think garbage as well. I think we've used it for all three, so they of course need to provide that they live in here, in the town, and then they need to show that they need that LEED certification, and if they can do that, then the same process that we've done in the past can be followed, and we can take care of that. That is the one item that is budgeted for that last fund at the end of the page. It's the last page of the budget there. That was added on, that new fund was. So if you flip right to the end of it, it's called the Community Grant Fund. And it also has a lot of room in there, obviously, with the Morvan grant to add additional funding there. We have received just recently some requests for that type of funding as well. And, certainly we'll get those processed. I know we received a bunch this week, as a matter of fact. So that would give us, I think, either 7 or 8 that we've received to date on folks that are asking for, to apply for this community grant. And we will get those before the council. We don't have those right now because we just received some of them. So we'll get them all packaged together for your consideration. Now, that's something that can be awarded throughout the year. So on a quarterly basis or even a monthly basis, if we receive these things, if we have funding left in it, we can bring it before the Board of Trustees to consider. And if it's something that you feel meets the community grant specifications that that will help the community, then you can continue to spend throughout the year on that. I don't think last year you had it all spent at the very beginning either, so this would be kind of consistent with what we've done in the past, I'm told. But it does give you the ability to make that decision as we go throughout the year.
Quick question, because I've actually been asked, there's not a place on the application that asks the dollar amount that they're requesting, and
That's an
so,
important thing.
yes, so
Okay, we'll add that to the.
yeah, so that confuses people on what and when and where and how, and is there a due date they should have it in by, or?
That
and
is
that's-
totally up to the Board of Trustees. If you would like to get some before the approval date. One of the other items that I needed to mention to you is because we have, and I apologize because I came into the game late on this. Normally we start this in a couple months ahead of that. But what we're looking at right now, and all the staff, this is the first time we've gone through it together. We discovered that we have to have our certifications and everything done to get the certification for the state tax, the property tax into the county by the 15th, which means we will need a special meeting, most likely on the 10th, to do this if at all possible. To pass it, we need a quorum of the council to pass it, but there are a quorum of the Board of Trustees, but we would like to have a special meeting to make sure that we meet that deadline. Our normal meeting's on the 16th, so it falls a day late, unfortunately. So we were scrambling when we saw that deadline on there, that we had to scramble and get a time set up for another meeting. So that's I know Dustin and I talked about that today, and it looked like the 10th was a day that would probably be, we could definitely get our stuff ready by that time, based upon what your feelings are about this, and get that approved in time to get that certification into the county. And then we don't have to turn it into the state until, I believe, December 31st. So we're working with a timetable on here, but there are some little things inside that weren't quite totally spelled out to us at the very beginning, but we're still okay, and we're still moving forward on it. We just need to have a special meeting in order to approve that. And next year, I think, since this is kind of a learning process for all of us, we should have a better idea of how to schedule this thing, especially if we get started a couple months earlier.
Just FYI, I won't be here.
Okay.
I can't make it.
Well, we'll have to see if we can get a quorum with the council on that day, and if not, then we can move to the 9th.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not here from Saturday until the until I won't be back until.
Anybody else have any concerns with that?
Hopefully. John, I assume that your charts are connected and created by your spreadsheet. And I'm noticing in your town funds as a percentage of total, You still have the lodger's tax fund in there.
Yeah, I'll take that. That's actually been removed from the budget. So
I
maybe
couldn't
that's-
find it, but I wanted to make sure that
Yeah,
it's
I'll
not
correct
buried
that.
somewhere.
That's a good
He
point to
used
make. I will
this
correct that.
to make this.
And I'm not sure what's getting.
It should be tied to this, too.
Yeah,
The
he didn't,
spreadsheet.
he used that,
So,
and it's on here.
Yeah.
is that part of the one that we created as a bitmap? So it will print out?
Not sure.
I think in order to get the graphs to print out,
Mhm.
I think we had to, because a lot of folks weren't getting these, we printed this as a bitmap. I think this is an older bitmap. I will make sure that the newer one is forwarded to you, but you are correct on that. The lodger's tax was removed from the, as was the other.
Right,
we were looking at.
Parks and Rec.
Good point, thank you for catching that.
Excuse me.
Yeah, because it's still showing down here in the bottom of the table as well. And so that was copied as a bitmap. It wasn't part of the program. That's based off of the recap sheet, which doesn't have that in it, so that's why that's not there.
Just wanted to make sure it hadn't flowed through to something else.
No, thank you for catching that. I definitely appreciate a bookkeeper's eye on some of this. Oh, and there were a couple of other minor items that were in there. I know the mosquito money, you saw there was the revenue for the mosquito money. There is an expenditure for it. I went ahead and marked that in there. It is in the, I believe it's in the admin side, but you'll see it. It's actually in the description of the line item. We basically
Yeah, I
included it
saw
on the
it.
professional services side. So it is in there. You know, we wanted to make sure that that was pointed out. We did have the revenue also that had already been put in there. But, and then we had some overtime monies that weren't included. I guess there's a pension that we're paying for a police officer from
Long, long time ago.
1947, I
And we
don't know.
regularly check now to
A
make
very,
sure.
a very
Yeah.
long-lived citizen is still benefiting from that, so we still have that. That wasn't included in there, so you'll see some of that as well in the police department, under their funds, but I believe it was an officer at one time we had, and
It's the spouse that's still.
the spouse of
Yes.
the officer, so, okay. So, anyway, that was some other small stuff like that was put in there, but I wanted, as I go through this, and I'm trying to go through line by line with my little ruler, every once in a while I say, what the heck is that? And that one actually was a Kathy catch, so I appreciate that, and we did include that on there as well, so.
One other, under the planning and community development, you've got the town planner listed as vacant with a salary in there. Is the salary correct? And obviously, our planner role is not vacant, so,
As of today,
yes.
I'm happy to say.
Okay.
That will be corrected, yes, before we
Okay.
submit that, and that is correct.
Okay,
Which, welcome.
So,
yeah,
yes.
welcome.
Thank you. And yes, for those of you who haven't, give you the opportunity later today.
Great.
Meet Derek, our new town planner. We're really thankful to have him today, and he's already been on the phone and already been hard
Digging
at
in.
work, so. Anyway, this is the budget, and if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Definitely the one item that I mentioned at the end, which is the charity, the community grant thing to help folks out, help nonprofits and folks like that out. We do have some, but they were just recently received. So it sounds like we need to go back and make sure that they put down what they actually want in the grant as far as the amount goes. So that's, I think we're using an older form, but we'll definitely correct that and make sure that that is part of the deal, because it's kind of important.
Does the board have any other questions, concerns, comments?
I don't think so.
Do you have any other, John?
No, I think we've had an opportunity over the last few months to look at it. It's evolved as it's supposed to over the process, and it can further evolve until the point where you actually approve the budget, which would be whatever day we said. If it's the 10th, that's the date that it would be approved, but anything can be changed at that. But then, of course, you are the Board of Trustees. You can always do an adjustment at any time if things change. And I do fully expect that we're going to have some additional revenues coming in with respect to our east intersection project. I'm fairly confident of that now. And I will be able to make a formal announcement when I actually see something in writing that I sign, that it's all official. But I think we're moving forward. I'm very positive about that east intersection project, and I think we're gonna get it done a little quicker than the CDOT thought that they were, and it's largely due to the help from CDOT. We have some very influential folks that we've been talking to in CDOT that really want to see this project go through. It's one of their top priorities in the whole quarter of the state, which is, it's nice to know. And I'm having a lot of great conversations with some great folks in CDOT, so.
Is there potential of more money from?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So anyway, as that comes available, we make sure, like I mentioned before with grants, I don't like adding that in until after I have the signed document that says it's a grant agreement.
No, I'm good
And then
with
the
that.
formal process that I would do is I would come before the board of trustees and ask for a budget adjustment. I try to limit those to quarterly, but if we have a big increase in funds or a big grant or something like that, I think it's important that we get that in there right away and get started on the project. So I like to get that budgeted right away. So we may end up with one that's outside of the quarterly adjustment phase. So you may end up with one in February if we do fingers crossed.
I have one more question.
Yes.
You had mentioned at the last meeting that you were going to put out an RFP for another town lawyer. Do you still plan on doing that?
I think, for all of our major contracts that we haven't put out an RFP on, I think that's prudent. I believe that's prudent. That doesn't mean we're looking at changing them. That just means that we're gonna put it out for a rebid. It's advised by the state. The procurement folks at the state advise that it's done on a regular basis. A lot of towns do things every 4 or 5 years just to make sure that the contracts are fresh. A lot of times there's new things in the contract that allow either the town to get additional services that maybe weren't available when they had the contract before, or it allows for a price schedule that's adjusted in it that we know what we're going to get before we get it, and each year we can plan for that ahead of time. So there are some benefits in doing that, but I think the biggest benefit is from a procurement standpoint. All of the contracts, I mean engineering, if it's a services contract, if you've had one for 10 to 12 years, the institutional knowledge is great, and that will help that candidate when they put in for the RFP, because there is always a big chunk of points that are familiarity with the contracting agency, and that certainly will be included in every RFP. I think the state even requires it. But that's something that I think it will be a benefit to us to make sure that we have the best product that's out there.
So if I understand you correctly, you're going to put out an RFP on everyone that we contract with, including other engineers and across the board?
You betcha.
Okay.
That's my recommendation, and obviously that's something if we've got a contract for 12 or 15 years and we've never relooked at it, and the prices have continued to go up and up and up. And I'm not saying that's the case with the legal, but we do have some contracts that are like that. Are we getting the best product? Is this what the market bears as far as the market price for this product? Is this up-to-date services that we're getting? In some cases, it's rental of equipment that, that's attached to a service agreement, that equipment may be costing us more than it's worth because it's outdated equipment and it costs more to maintain that type of stuff. So, this is something that is not unusual. Every county, every town, even the economic development agencies that I'm familiar with, do that on a regular basis, and it's been a benefit to all of them. And I think that it will be a benefit to the town. I think we will, in some cases, save money. I think in some cases, we'll get better service. We may get the same person, we may get a different one, but the fact is we can go back to the constituents and say that we've re-examined these to make sure we're getting the best deal for the citizens' money, and you can't say that if you've had one for 12, 15, 20 years, and you haven't put it out there, so.
Who makes the decision? Is this a decision we make to put it out there, or you make to put it out there?
Obviously, if you guys have a problem with putting it out, you could certainly say that we're not going to fund that. So you have a decision at 2 points. You have a decision to award the RFP, because that will have to be brought before you in the majority of these
Right.
cases. And if this is something that's a major issue and you don't want to put those contracts out, you can certainly instruct me to leave that one out for right now.
I personally think it's a good idea. I just don't want it to take another 6, 7 months for something to happen. Somebody's got to make a decision that this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to move forward. And whoever's decision it is needs, let's do it. Let's make things happen here instead of just talk about them all the time.
Let's not change our minds.
Right.
Well, and I will tell you, the one major control point you have is if you disagree with the award, you vote it down. And you can have us go back out, because that is definitely your authority and right as a board of trustees. So definitely, I think that that is the major veto that you have over the executive branch, is that you control the purse strings. So those will come before you, every single one of those. And remember that a lot of these grants, for example, these federal grants, the reason why we're not paying for the TAG grant, or, TAG grant's not paying for, some of these things, and the reason why the federal grant that's, that DOLA is administering is not paying for engineering services, and we're having to cover that out of our pockets, is because we didn't go out for a competitive bid for a competitive process for our engineering services. They will not pay for that without that. So they'll allow us to use it, but they will not allow us to pay for it out of federal funds with that. And that's CDBG programs just like that. I know the USDA program requires that as well. These are the big grants that are out there. And only recently have the earmarks been required to do that. But towards the last 10 years, they've been requiring even the earmarks to do that. And it's the state agencies sometimes that put those on the, on the plate of the town. If you're going to use our money, you're going to do it our way. So most towns have just adapted their process so that they can show that the people that they've got employed in these different areas have been picked through a competitive process, that there's not and not that I say any of ours are like that, because I don't see any evidence of that, but from their perspective, they're worried about sweetheart deals and sort of people getting cut out and given all the grants. And I mean, that goes way back to the Lincoln County Wars, where beef contracts were awarded to only one group that knew about it, because they didn't go out competitively. So it's not something that's new, but it's something, the way that local governments can help ensure that the money is spent.
Well, I'd like to go on the record that I feel that Mr. Goldman has been exceptional. Every time I've ever called him for any kind of guidance or information, his office has been exceptional. And almost without fail, he either takes my call or calls me right back. So I'm just going on the record that I think he's done a good job.
I would certainly say he has definitely been that way for me as well. And, I don't base my decisions as a manager on likes and dislikes. I don't have that luxury.
No, I think it's the quality of the service that matters and the delivery. That's what matters to me.
I think he was going to say it's real nice choice.
Do we have
Yeah.
We choose.
any more
Right.
questions on the budget?
I have one. Have we looked at Homestead Trails and that sewer issue that we're having out there, collecting monies from?
Yes, earlier this week, actually last week, you guys authorized that ordinance to send for tax levy on those bills that are more than 6 months delinquent. So many of them are over a year, actually, the ones I sent in. So those are sent into the county, and they'll be following up with that. So we've done our diligence on that end now.
And that's the first step in capturing or recouping what we know was out there existing. Stopping the problem is, and I actually spoke a little bit with our new planner this morning about that, because that would involve assessing what we were going to need in order to permanently fix this problem. And we are moving forward on that to come up with a plan for that. But we want to make sure we give the board of trustees all the facts as far as what the impact's going to be. We've taken their request from a few years back, and I've reviewed the request that was put together before the board of trustees, and I'm not sure how many years back that was made, but I know that was turned down at the time. But I do not believe that the board of trustees or the mayor at that time knew about the problem with the payment of bills. Had they known about that,
It might have been a different.
it might have been a different, I agree. So we're gonna take that, because they did request it at one time, and we're gonna look at their evaluation on what the impact was to the town, and then I'll take that into account and add in the problems we're having with the sewer accounts out there, and move forward with that. And then we'll maybe start looking at some of the other areas as we were instructed to do, to just start looking at the future. But right now, I think that would be the first start, as we had talked about earlier, is take a look at that and coming up with a permanent fix for that so that we don't have this problem. I did talk to the state. The state did confirm that is our problem. If something happens out there, that is our problem. We would want to be the ones that would bear the fine for that, but it wouldn't be the HOA, it would be us. So I was worried that that was the case, and the enforcement division did tell me that that's something that we probably needed to look into right away as well. And I think our quickest fix was the permanent fix, just getting it taken care of and making sure that if something happens out there, we have the ability to control what ends up out of Jeremy's plan, so.
Right.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Would the board like to set this special meeting for December 10th?
What day of the week is that?
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
We can't do the 9th because we have a planning commission on the 9th.
I 100% can't be there, so.
Can the rest of the board make it for a quorum?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey y'all, good to see you. For the record, I'm here and I'm not available on the 10th.
That scared me. What do we need, 5? Can everyone else make it?
What time are we doing it?
6:30?
Whatever works for you guys. Yeah, we'll make it work for us.
Okay. Yeah, that should be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you all want to do 6 or 6:30?
You
6:30.
okay?
Same time, 6:30.
6:30? Okay.
Thank
6:30
you.
on the 10th? Does the public have any questions or concerns on the budget? Seeing none, we'll move on to the November 2025 expenditures.
We close the budget hearing. You want to officially close the budget hearing?
Okay.
Or not?
Oh, I moved on to, I'm sorry, I misread my sheet. So I'm going to close the budget hearing for the 2026 budget and the public hearing on that, and move on to approval of the minutes and financial action items. First up is the board trustee meeting minutes for November 18th of 2025. Has the board had a chance to look over those minutes?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes dated November 18th, 2025.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro,
That was a yes, I heard this.
Thumbs up.
Trustee Hartz,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin.
Yes.
And Mayor Ah.
Yes. November 2025 expenditures.
I got a couple little questions on that. Of course. What, it's, we had a charge of $507 and change for detox, for access. What is that for?
Whenever we have to take in a subject that's under arrest and they have a possibility of drug or alcohol ingestion, they have to go there prior to being admitted to the jail.
And they charge us, yes, of course.
Yes.
And then, I probably should know this, but I didn't, the Nalco polymer that we paid for, Jeremy, could you remind me what that was for?
That's the polymer for the wastewater treatment plant. So we buy that annually. And just so everybody's aware, we did get tariffed on the Nalco polymer this year. We usually spend $8,800 on it, and we did have to pay a tariff and a surcharge, so Bayfield's doing its part too.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the expenditures?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the November 2025 expenditures.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro, Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Katzos,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee McLaurin,
Yes.
and Mayor Ah.
Yes. Next is executive session, if requested by the Board of Trustees. Which involves the status of a complaint brought by Ms. Allison before the Colorado Civil Rights Division in the town's defense of the action.
Do you have the,
I do. Who wants to read it?
I believe that there, number one, probably is a good idea to inform the board as to what has been going on with regard to that complaint, and it should take place in e-session. So the next step is for one of the board members to make a motion to go into e-session for that particular purpose, and a second, and if everyone approves to go into e-session, we'll do that.
we just, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of receiving legal advice from counsel on specific legal questions in accordance with CRS Section 24-6-4024B. The topic involves status of complaint brought by Ms. Dallison before the Colorado Civil Rights Division in the town's defense of the action. The following people will be present for the executive session: Trustee Nyberg, Trustee Cesaro, Trustee Harts, Mayor Ah, Trustee Katzos, and Trustee McLaurin, and
Suggest I be present and that you have your town manager as well as your human resource director, Ms.
Yeah.
Chum, be present.
I was just getting to some
Great.
of those myself, Trustee Moreland, Town Manager John Waters, Michael Goldman, Attorney, and Marie Kelm, Human Resource Director.
I have a motion. I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?